One of the most notorious stories amongst classic Who is none other than 1989's haunted house costume drama, Ghostlight. Notorious, that is, because nobody has a clue what's going on. It's hardly apt to describe it as a story. Ghostlight is more of a premise or a concept. It tries to be a story, but ultimately fails. This is mainly because it mammothly overran. There was enough material to make this a 4-parter, but most of it was cut down to suit the 3-part formula. However, most of the scenes that were cut out were the exposition, so the story is a little bit all over the place. This episode more focuses on concepts and themes, for example the ideas of fear and change, and the fear of change in this story is cleverly represented by evolution. In my previous review I referenced the Cartmel Masterplan, an idea conceived by script editor Andrew Cartmel, which would see the show shed some light on the Doctor's character and backstory. This was also further hinted at in stories like Silver Nemesis and The Curse of Fenric, but was intended to be mainly exhibited in Ghostlight. Writer Mark Platt initially set the story on Gallifrey, in a Doctor's house called Lungbarrow. Cartmel, however, suggested that he set it on Earth, and the idea of Lungbarrow was scrapped but revived later in 1997 as a Virgin New Adventures novel, and it served as an infamous exposition to the Doctor's past life. Instead of the highly ambitious Lungbarrow, Platt decided to focus on the story around Ace's fears and further developing her backstory and character as done in the rest of Season 26. This is done by the Doctor once again testing Ace by making her face her fears. He takes her to an old house called Gabriel Chase that she visited in 1983 when she climbed over the wall for a dare. The house was old and fallen down with an aura of intense evil. The Doctor and Ace wind up in said house in 1883 and find themselves in the presence of a hunter roaming the hallways looking for a man called Redverse Fen Cooper. They make their way upstairs only for the hunter to suddenly turn on the Doctor and Ace until he sees his own reflection and finds the man he's looking for. Himself.
There you are, old chap. Redverse, I've found you. What have they done to you? You look like a ghost.
He claims to have seen a bright light and has evidently lost his mind and is taken away to the so-called interior. This sets up a strange and eerie feeling for the story, especially with the accompaniment of Marquez's creeping score. We are then introduced to Nimrod, a Neanderthal servant to the owner of the house, Josiah Samuel Smith, an elegantly eerie character played by Ian Hogg. The idea to have an entirely guest cast is genius. It really adds to the feel of the story. There aren't any actors playing roles over the top, only straight, well-performed roles. At dinner, Reverend Ernest Matthews arrives to debate his theories of evolution with Josiah and the Doctor. Evolution is an excellent theme to explore within Doctor Who, but only when done right. I've seen it handled better in stories like Sherlock, but nothing comes close to that masterpiece. It's handled extremely well within Ghostlight by representing the fear of change within evolution. Ace departs from dinner only to find out that the house she is in is Gabriel Chase, the one she visited when she was 13.
Matthew's in there, says this house is Gabriel Chase.
So?
It's all falling down last time I saw it in 1983. You tricked me! This is Perivale!
We're given another look at just how malevolent the 7th Doctor can be and the versatility of Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred's acting abilities. They are both perfect in this scene, and further proving my reasoning for why they truly are my favourite Doctor and companion pairing. Ace runs away only to find an elevator that leads to the basement, in which she finds the aforementioned interior, where she and Nimrod come across 2 insect-like creatures that are revealed to be husks of Josiah, just as a snake sheds its skin. The Doctor lets a creature free that was living in the interior called Control, who was imprisoned in the ship by Josiah. This may all seem like a lot to process, however it will make sense in good time. Meanwhile, Josiah begins to change, evolving once again, shedding his skin, while the Reverend de-evolves. This is a haunting scene where he slowly turns into an ape, while Josiah laughs maniacally, proving the Reverend wrong about his theories of evolution. This is an amazing idea, and one of Doctor Who's most terrifying moments. The next morning, the Doctor wakes up a preserved policeman that has been kept in the cupboard for hundreds of years. This has no worthwhile effects on the story, however it serves as another creepy moment to further set the tone. And the character is played amazingly. Along with this, preserved creatures and insects encased in the drawers begin to come alive as well as the former husks of Josiah. This is because Josiah has evolved into a fully formed Victorian gentleman. Meanwhile, desperate to escape, Control has made her way out of the ship and up the elevator as well as Light, an ethereal being who made his way to Earth years ago to catalogue every species in the universe, along with Josiah and Control in their ship. The ship is the interior that remains under Gabriel Chase after landing there because Josiah liked Earth so much he decided to return. However, Josiah was meant to be Light's assistant, but has grown jealous, and rather than remaining in the interior when Light was hibernating and Control was imprisoned, he began to out-evolve Light and become all-powerful. Control was meant to remain in the ship at all times, but evidently grew bored and began to evolve into a Victorian lady. Redverse Fen Cooper, the huntsman, has been set free and is planning to hunt the rarest species of them all, Queen Victoria. This is a great idea, however it has no worthwhile effects on the plot, so it could have been just cut entirely. Light, under further inspection of the house, soon finds that everything has evolved since he last visited, and gets annoyed believing that he wasted his time cataloguing everything when it begins to change. This is where the fear of change begins to come in. Also worth mentioning John Hallam's performance as Light. He contrasts the role by playing it as a camp, ethereal god, and suddenly changing to a very stern portrayal of an all-powerful figure. Out of frustration, Light begins to turn the human race into stone and soup. This is another grim moment where the family meet around a table for dinner to eat primordial soup, made from the remains of the police officer, the cream of Scotland Yard. The climax of this story proceeds with a brilliant scene in which the Doctor convinces Light he is useless without his constant change. He is part of what he hates and therefore gets out-evolved.
All his change, all his movement. Tell me, Light, haven't you just changed your location?
Not yet.
What's the matter, Light? Changed your mind?
You are endlessly agitating, unceasingly mischievous. Will you never stop?
I suppose I could. It would make a change.
Soon, Control takes charge and Josiah becomes her prisoner. The roles have reversed, and they leave the planet. Light disperses and the house is empty, and only the Doctor and Ace are left to remember this adventure.
Wicked.